Hey guys, it's Carlos from the Texan Talking Podcast, and we are here on Sunday's pregame show against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's right, the Texans face the Jacksonville Jaguars today at Jacksonville with wonderful weather. Today I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Rios. Let them know what's up, Rios.
What's going on, guys? It's a beautiful day outside today.
It is really nice outside here too. So, it's like really hard to start because it's against Jacksonville and they're the guys that are at the top of they're at the top of the division. They're probably they're gonna win the division right now. I mean, this season it just doesn't. I don't see the Colts again. I don't see the Titans getting anywhere close to the division, but that's why I'm going with Jacksonville. And these guys are coming in hot. I like what I'm seeing with Jacksonville. I don't like what I'm seeing with our with our franchise, but they're still our boys. Yeah, they're still our boys. So let's get into it. Let's look at some of the stats that we got going on for today. It looks like we are 72% are 72.8% says Jacksonville is going to win. 27% says the Texans are going to win. Rios, what do you think?
There was a small percentage that said high. Oh God,
I saw that. Yeah, it was like 0.3%. 0.3%, and it's a tie. I love that they're including those ties.
You know what game should have ended in a tie? That Thursday night game, because we did not deserve, we did not deserve
that game.
That
game was awful. That game was awful.
I told you guys on Wednesday with full steam ahead. That game was going to set football back 50 years. I think it set it back.
You're right. It was awful, man. I fell asleep part of it. Like I really did. I was over there doing work stuff and then watching it. I'm not gonna lie, man. I almost fell asleep on it. It was a terrible. It was probably one of the worst games I've seen in a long time. That Thursday night game.
Worst I've seen in my lifetime. It was just.
It was pretty bad. It was awful.
Couldn't finish. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
No,
I was trying, on my laptop taking notes. Like, I can't do this, man.
Exactly. No, you don't have it in you anymore. No. So, all right, let's go back to the Texans really quick. So, as I was saying, 72.8% are saying Jacksonville's going to win. 27% Texans, and then 0.3% chance of a tie. All right, let's do some QB comparisons really quick. Of course, we got Davis Mills and Trevor Lawrence. So basically, Davis Mills is 88 of 142. He has thrown this season so far 908 yards, and he's got 5 touchdowns along with 4 interceptions. Though Trevor Lawrence has also he's also 88. He's actually 88 out of 134. He's actually thrown, a little better. He's actually thrown 946 yards this season. He has 8 touchdowns though, and only 2 interceptions. It's almost like similar numbers. However, those 8 touchdowns do make a big difference. Because it's literally, honestly, they make a big difference. Even though there's just 3 more touchdowns than Davis Mills, because it kind of tells you a lot. You know, it basically tells you, hey, he's finishing he's finishing his touchdowns. Like, I know Davis Mills, as we know, like we've talked many times about it, the decision making isn't there, and it's pretty apparent now, and with the stats also. Again, they do have similar yard throws, but a lot of it is also because of those couple of glimpses that we've seen him throw, like last week's with how do you call it, with the Nico Collins, that's right. And then the touchdown, and then the touchdown to Brandon Cooks at that particular, literally in back-to-back plays, which was fine because it was great to see that finally a little bit of what should have been happening since the beginning of the season, the whole game, right? But at the end, it's like we saw that's literally it. Those were the 2 big highlights that I took from that game that were, that Davis Mills was part of. And so other than that, it was just, same old thing, collapsing under pressure. And it's funny because for the last two games, the pocket has been, the quarterback protection has been great
He's
on behalf of the O line. So that's why I'm like a little. I feel like some of these numbers are a little skewed because of that reason. Um, but yeah, you want to share about running backs, Rios?
Yeah, so running backs. Obviously Pierce is the better running back than James Robinson, but
Yeah,
the way that the Texans are, I guess they're not. I guess what's a nice way to say it? Their inability to stop the run. Honestly, I could find a guy off the street. He could probably gain 100 yards in the Texans defense. It's just bad. They're allowing almost 180 yards rushing again. Like you can't win games and
yeah,
like almost 200 yards rushing. And mind you, we had
yeah.
most of these guys, most of those numbers came against a backup running back. It wasn't Jonathan Taylor. It was like
Mhm.
against Herbert from the Bears. He had the highest rushing of his career against the Texans. And I predict the same thing for James Robinson, at least 150 yards rushing, at least a couple
Yeah.
touchdowns. Pierce, I think that Jacksonville, they're top three in stopping the run. They allow, less than 90 yards rushing.
That's it's gonna
They're
be nasty.
if I'm defensive coordinator, my main focus shutting down Pierce because that's their one bright spot on offense. Because Mills
Right.
put the fear in no one because he's going to panic,
Yeah.
happy feet, and he's going to check it down. And these defensive backs, they're starting to sit on these routes and just wait for the check down, and they're breaking these passes up or they're picking them off. As we've seen time and time again in crunch time, because it's predictable. It's looking like the Kubiak offense when we went 2-14. Like everyone knew what was coming.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. Fully agree with you on that. I think Jacksonville's main focus is to try to stop Damian Pierce in his tracks, and they're pretty good at it, as you can see. I think this particular season, Jacksonville has only allowed 93.8 rushing yards this season,
Yeah.
as opposed to the Texans, where they've allowed 172. So big difference in that, right? Yeah, they've allowed about the same amount of just about the same amount of passing yards. I think the Texans have only allowed about two more. Yeah, Jacksonville has allowed about 252.3 yards, passing yards allowed, and then the Texans have allowed 254.3. So that's about, they're about the same there, just by a little bit, but the rushing yardage is a big difference. So, and that kind of tells you, all right, we're struggling in the run right now. And like you said, Jacksonville's what, top three? You said in stopping the run.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think this game, as much as I enjoy watching Damian Pierce play, I think he's going to struggle today.
The Rex
With
Burkhead.
that, no, Rex Burkhead's coming in, y'all. No,
They showed the graph. They had that graphic. I don't know if everyone saw that. It was a graphic of Pierce, Rex Burkhead, and I didn't even care to who else was on there. I just saw Rex Burkhead, and it just when I say soul crushing, that's just soul crushing. I'm like, oh no.
yeah,
They're
this
mentally
red.
prepared.
Yeah, this Rex Burkhead defense, this Rex Burkhead led offense here. Now on the other side, maybe do you think they're going to make any adjustments? You think Damian Pierce might actually show up because we know that I think they're going to know that they're going to try to stop him. Do you think he kind of shows a different side in this particular game?
No, because that
You don't think
involved a
so?
quarterback. That involved a quarterback making right decisions, and we've seen time and time again he does not. People want to put it on the offensive coordinator. As an offensive coordinator, you try to focus on your quarterback strengths. When your quarterback doesn't really have anything that he's particularly great at, you try to mask it and call conservative plays to at least control the ball and not put him in harm's way or not show off his glaring weaknesses. And it's not on the coordinator. Like I said, he's handcuffed by this quarterback that's just not good. He's below average, honestly. And there's only so much you can do as a coordinator. Like you can't, magically turn him into, prime Tom Brady. Like it's just he is who he is at this point. The only thing you can do is just hope that there's a breakdown in coverage and he gets a lucky pass off. Otherwise, it's focus on trying different ways to get the ball to Pierce.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think like Pierce, coming into this game, knowing that Jacksonville's so good against the run, Do you think we might actually see a different side of Dameon Pierce? Do you think he's
If you
gonna?
list him as a receiver, yes, but I don't. They have yet to do that this season, and there's been plenty of opportunities, like game script wise, of putting him out as a receiver, lining him up.
Right.
But no, they call it Rex Burkhead when it's time, and it's obvious when Pierce is out there, it's a running play. When Burkhead's out there, it's a passing play. Like it's predictable.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I hope like he gets utilized correctly. We know that I believe isn't it Dameon Pierce's left side? No, the right side is the strongest. Is that correct?
Yes, the left side is one of the worst to the left.
Yeah. Yeah, that left side is a killer to him, but I know that right side, that's where he shows his strength the most, but that left side is probably you said it was one of the worst, right, in the NFL?
Yeah, he's last. He's ranked last among active running backs running towards the left.
Mm.
Like it's not even close.
Okay.
Well, that comes down to Tunsil. Tunsil's strength is pass protection. He's about average as far as run protection, but he's elite at pass protection, which would you expect from your left tackle? He's protecting the blind side. But again, if we're seeing that, it's obvious, NFL coordinators seeing that as well. So they're going to focus any run towards the right. They're going to try to have more defenders on that side of the field and force him to go left.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I think we're gonna see. I hope. Like I'm hoping that we get to see a little like a different side of Dameon Pierce, and maybe he's able to break some tackles, get away. The thing that I don't want to see is that since Jacksonville's going to be strong against the run, I just hope that they don't start losing a little bit of faith in Dameon Pierce just because our coaches are like that and start putting him in the doghouse again, and we start seeing the Rex Burkhead offense again. And when I say that, I don't mean anything against Rex Burkhead. It's just the fact that how he's being utilized. Does that make sense? I feel like he's being used as a scapegoat, almost like as a safety net. That shouldn't be a safety net. Should be a guy that just comes in, gives at this point, just comes in, gives Dameon Pierce a little break. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. But he shouldn't be the guy that you're depending solely on, let's make these big plays. You shouldn't be handing the ball to him on third and long, third and short or third and long, whatever it is. You shouldn't be in there on third down. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. In general,
he's not a third down back. Like that's their big.
He's not a third down back. Yeah, exactly. He's not a third down back, and so that's mainly what you need Pierce. You could probably put him on second down, try to get you like maybe 3 yards at the most or whatever it is. But man, I don't.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I'm just like a little. I guess that's what the part that's a little bit more that makes us a little pessimistic, I guess, in that aspect, because you kind of see it coming. You see it, you see it on the play. As soon as you see Rex Burkhead on third down, it's like, oh well, goes it's not going to get the yardage. It's a very low percent chance of him actually getting that first down. And aren't we like still
third down conversion? He's like bottom 5%. It's
but even as a team, we're like, even as a team, we're not. We're pretty low on that third down conversion chart, aren't we?
Yeah, bottom 5 and
bottom 5.
Because again,
exactly.
Like Burkhead.
Again, he's on third down, so let's try to change that a little bit. And that's what's a little concerning about it. And I feel like it's crazy because we mentioned these on every single one of our pregame shows, and it still happens. It's like the never-ending story of Burkhead's the Burkhead-led offense, the Bulkhead offense, and it sounds like we're beating a dead horse, but that's what it is. Like we can't help it. We can't help it. This is the team that we got, So sometimes the stories write themselves, but this is the same story. It's like reading a book, and it just has the same thing over and over again. That's what. Yeah. So. Anyway,
it's like a frustration. It's like Groundhog Day. It's just rinse and repeat, man.
Yeah, man.
Like you like some type of change. Like again, utilize Pierce as a receiver. Like it wouldn't kill you. We're not winning anything. Like
after
this game, our next winnable game is against the Commanders, and that's in the middle of November. we're at the beginning of October. Like it's gonna be a rough stretch after the bye week. Which with the bye week,
Now,
I
yeah,
guarantee we're in.
is it though?
Yeah,
Is it a win? Anyway,
it's a win for me. I'll have
I'll
to see
take.
out there for a
Oh,
week.
it's a win for you. Yeah, it's a week for you. It's a win for us. Yeah, the fans. But as far as for the team, not quite, not so much. No, yeah. You know what? Just get Aaron Foster back.
Give
Let
him
him
my
go. Yeah, give me your Achilles. Yeah. No, yeah, man. Going into this bye week, after today's game, you don't feel good about it. However, the only glimpse of hope that we have right now as Texans fans is basically at the end of the season.
number one
Because
pick.
if this continues, that number one pick is going, and then let's just hope that Cleveland it does pretty bad too, which it doesn't look like it right now. Let's hope they do pretty bad so that we also get a good pick from them.
You Bryce Young.
Yeah, he's we'll settle for a Bryce Young, and I know that. So one of the things that I've seen on Twitter as far as arguments was that you have to build a house around the quarterback. We've seen that they say you have to build a house around the quarterback. You have to have the pieces around him. A lot of people are blaming the receivers for not being open, but from what we've seen, that's not the case. Like there's been certain plays where Nico's wide open,
Cooks is wide open.
Brandon Cooks is wide open, Christian Moore is wide open. Like you have options, those weapons. Like now, are they the best options? Brandon Cooks has been pretty consistent. I like Brandon Cooks. I think Nico's also growing. And he's getting open in place. Is it all of the plays? Probably not, but he's still open in a good amount of those plays. And usually when they're open,
you throw it some. You would think
throw it to them. Common sense, but I mean, then again, we're not in his shoes or whatever. Things happen, but at the end of the day, it's like you start relying on your safety net, which is Rex Burkhead, and it's been a few plays where we've seen that. It happened in the Denver Broncos game. It happened at the Chicago game. It happened last week against the Chargers. Like it's almost like a recurring pattern. So yeah, that's what's frustrating about it. And now a lot of people like the argument is you have to build the pieces around the quarterback. Well, at this point, it's like you have pieces to work with. That's the thing. You have pieces to work with.
The problem is the quarterback.
The problem is a quarterback. Yeah, the problem is a quarterback. So that's the thing that needs to be solved. Now, if I understand the argument of you got to build around your quarterback, but what if your quarterback isn't the guy that you should be building around to? And this is what I think in this case. If you get this, if you get like one of these kids, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, if I'm missing a quarterback, I'm sure I'm whatever. But these are the top two quarterbacks that that
the only
are probably in our eyesight. Even the Tech wasn't
not being in discussion at all.
Yeah, and like you have like even you had like scouts going to that Alabama game with CJ to check out Bryce Young. You remember that?
Yeah.
I think it was a couple weeks ago. It wasn't obviously this weekend because he was out, but that was a couple weeks ago. I think it might have been for before it was after the Broncos game. That's when it was. It was right after the Broncos game. There were Texan scouts over there, so something's coming. So this particular basically saying how much is enough time to give Davis Mills? For example, he's already had a good chunk of last season. He's had this season now, and we've seen glimpses, yes, of what he could be, but you haven't seen a consistency. There's no consistency there. So what do? You start having to look at other places. In this case, you start looking at, the scouts start looking over there at Alabama. They start looking at these top prospect quarterbacks that are coming up, and so because they're understanding, hey, this is probably not the guy, and this is something that you and I have been saying for a while too. I just had a little bit more, yeah, yeah. It was pretty apparent last year, and that's because you and I have seen those patterns before with Brock Osweiler, T.J. Yates,
PTSD is
Brian
kicking.
Hoyer, yeah, Brian Hoyer, Ryan Mallett,
Tom
those
Savage.
Tom Savage, those below average quarterbacks that you knew weren't the guys. And that's exactly what we saw in Davis Mills.
Yep.
It sounds messed up to say, yeah, we don't play. Yeah, we don't play. Rios and I don't play. We're not any better. But we still our opinion regardless. Like we can see it. Like it's pretty apparent. And if we can see it, I'm pretty sure these scouts, these coordinators, these coaches, they can definitely see it.
We see.
I get I get that you're supposed to say, oh, he's our guy, he's our leader, whatever. But
Absolutely
wait till
not.
next season. Wait till next season. Wait till next season, because nobody's gonna be like, I thought this guy was our leader. Like, wait till next season when he gets replaced. And what happened to our leader? What happened to the guy that was supposed to lead us? Exactly. Anyway, at that point, I'm just saying that I don't really think Mills is our guy. And I've been saying that for a while too. He's not our guy. It's just not the leadership is not. Now he could be a great quarterback, a great backup quarterback, like you said. I agree with that 100%. But since the way that the season has started, his decision making skills, that does to me, as a fan, I can say it's definitely not elite quarterback starting material.
No, not one bit. The good quarterbacks, they elevate the receivers. He does not. Like, he's one of those you would need basically, elite running backs, elite receivers, an elite offensive line, an elite, like he needs everything to be elite versus you get a franchise quarterback that elevates players around you. They may not be the best. Like, look at Tom Brady. How many elite receivers has he had in his career? One.
Mm-hmm.
And that was they lost the Super Bowl that year, but again, they've never had a true number one receiver. That he turned guys like Edelman and Welker into stars. He's never had an elite. He elevated the play of his teammates. The same thing with like guys like Peyton Manning. He made guys that typically when you wouldn't think of star receivers, he turned them into household names. And that's what you want in your franchise quarterback. He's going to elevate the level of play of everyone around him, not the other way around. They got to elevate him. That's not a winning strategy. Like, look at the last few Super Bowl winners. Which one of them was a game manager? None. The last one was Peyton. Yeah. But again, that was almost a decade ago, and he had that elite defense behind him.
Yeah.
Like one of the all-time defenses. Like, come on. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, Peyton Manning is still better than Davis Mills.
And it's funny that you say that about the quarterbacks that elevate the receivers. Look at this season. One of the great examples that I want to use is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. Remember at the beginning, we all thought that KC was just gonna not be as good as they once were because Tyreek Hill. And look at Patrick Mahomes. He elevates his receivers. Like at first, my biggest thought was, well, after Tyreek leaves, I think we're gonna start really seeing how Patrick Mahomes really is. And in a way, it's right. We got to see how he is, and we got to see that he's actually a quarterback that does elevate his receivers, that makes receivers better, And so,
he changed his game because before he would look at the deep shot. Now he's going through his progressions. If it's there, chunks it. If not, he looks for the open guy or he can make all the throws, which you want in the
his awareness. Yeah, exactly. And so that awareness is there. And so, that to me, that's exactly an elite quarterback. That is what a quarterback should be. And he's also, he'll stay in the pocket, but he's also mobile. He can also stretch those plays out as much as he needs to, which is something that our quarterback can't do, which is, again, I bring it up every time. That's why I'm a huge proponent for quarterbacks that can extend those plays, that are mobile and can throw. It's almost like a rarity to have both of those skills. What's that?
No, like this traditional pocket passer is becoming a rare thing. Like outside of Brady, there's really not one guy that just stands
Yeah.
back there. But again, it's Brady. Like it's the GOAT.
Brady's gonna Brady, Anyway, so that's gonna be Any predictions of this game, the score?
So the over under is 43 and a half. I'm gonna
Woo.
go the under. I think it's gonna be I'll go Jacksonville 24, Houston 6.
It's a good one. Okay. I'm gonna say Jacksonville 30, Houston 3. We managed a field goal.
Yes.
I say Davis Mills interception.
Oh, I shouldn't be. I'm gonna start looking for those prop bets. I'm going with 2
Yeah.
picks.
We should start playing a drinking game. How many times he passes it over to Rex Burkhead on third down?
Sir, my liver is made of iron. I'm not going to survive the end of the game.
Your poor liver. Oh man. Anyway, nonetheless, that's going to be it for us this weekend. As far as our pregame show is concerned, we'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining us, and as always, Texans country, let's ride. No, Texans country, let's ride.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to do it. Thanks, Russ. I'll see you later. Have a good weekend. Peace.